Hello everyone, my name is Sark and welcome back to another Mafex review. In today's video, we're finally taking a look at the Mafex 138, the 6-inch Wolverine, in his brown comic book version. Probably one of the most sought after Wolverines as of currently. Because I know there's 3 different versions right now. There is, of course, the brown comic version. There is the classic comic version, which is, of course, the yellow and blue. And then there's the X-Force black and white, which is somewhat more affordable than what this guy was recently. So, without further ado, let's take this guy out and see how he looks. Alright, so here we have the Mafex Wolverine, and I gotta say, man, I love this figure already, just based upon the looks. This guy looks fantastic. The brown suit for Wolverine is probably one of the better looking suits that he's ever gotten in the history of his comic book life, and especially because they used it in the last couple of episodes of X-Men 97. I really fell in love with it during that show, and also because Hugh Jackman actually got to use it in Deadpool and Wolverine, which I actually do think that was a better suit than the yellow and blue one that they used, but opinions are opinions. Now, when it comes to this Wolverine, this guy stands at a whopping 6 inches to the top of his little cowl wings things that he has on the sides of the head. Of course, this is how he compares to a Marvel Legends Wolverine. They're almost the same size, but if you want more of a comic accurate look, or height, because the look is comic accurate, if you want the height accuracy, Marvel Legends will be your best friend, especially the X-Men 97 Wolverine. I know they're completely different outfits, and pretty much every brown suit Wolverine that Marvel Legends does is like completely inaccurate, because I've seen the pictures. The newly announced X-Men 97 Wolverine for the 2-pack with, I think, Storm looks disgustingly ugly. I'm not gonna lie, that's like a piss brown for some reason. But this guy looks fantastic because he does have that brown color that looks perfect. So yeah, aesthetically, this guy looks fantastic. Look at that. He doesn't have the most like insane paint job, but he does have shading on the actual thighs, even on the knees and the actual calves, which is insane to kind of see. The hair is also painted on, although it does seem more like dot printing, because that's what they usually do for the faces as well. You can see the actual paint on the lips, or the printing on the lips, and also the eyes are also printed in, which is interesting actually. You'd think they'd actually be painting those, but it looks fantastic nonetheless. And this is something that not a lot of companies do, especially Hasbro and Bandai. They actually paint the back, so you can actually see the shading on the yellow in the back side of the figure, especially the thighs. The brown does have a little bit of shading here and there, not so much in the butt cheeks, but he does have a slight hint of dark brown shading throughout the actual brown areas, which is really, really nice. The hands are painted well, a little bit sloppy with the overpaint on at least the left hand. The right side, the right hand actually looks fantastic, but it looks pretty good. And then the belt, I think they could have done a little bit better with the logo here, but it looks fine nonetheless. I'm not going to complain too much, because this is the 2025 reissue Wolverine. Now, this is not the Mafex, this is not any bootleg figure. Here is the Marvel logo, or the Marvel licensure, as you can see right there. It is the Mafex one that just released in Japan. It is widely available in Japan, and you can probably find it in a lot of Japanese websites, although he's very scarce right now. He is going up for a lot. He is selling out. I'm pretty sure Big Bad Toy Store earlier today had a couple available as of the time of recording this video. So kind of be on the lookout on Big Bad Toy Store. I actually had, if you're willing to pay the $110 for the figure, which is a much better price than what the aftermarket for this figure is. Now, when it comes to the articulation, this guy does actually have some pretty decent articulation. It is the usual Mafex though, so we know the standards. Looking down, pretty good. Looking up, not so much, but it does work to an extent. He does have a double ball peg that does have that little hinge going back. Although I do think, yep, because of the way that they did the head, he's not going to look too far back. Actually, no, never mind. If you twist the neck a little bit, you can actually look back pretty, or up pretty good. Never mind, I was just a little bit stuck there. And then, of course, looking side to side, pivoting to the sides as well, pretty well done there. The arms, better than a T-pose, that is fantastic. Butterfly joints can actually allow him to get his arms across all the way through without any issue, which is fantastic. We do have a 360 rotation, bicep swivel that is pretty smooth. Like, it's actually really smooth there. Double jointed elbow, hinge wrist, that works well. For the diaphragm, it is a little bit tight on mine, so I might have to loosen it up. But he can go forward this far without the ab crunch, backwards this far without the ab crunch, and that's something that can happen, which I will talk in a bit. Okay, so it is pretty loose on mine, so give me 1 second while I actually get this a little bit looser. Alright, got the shock oil in. It actually works smoothly now. You can hear a little bit of squeaking, which is normal, especially for the first one. But let me show you what I did. So, again, always have some 30WT or 350 CST Traxxas high performance shock oil. Pure silicon, clear, non-staining. Very true, it doesn't stain. What I did is I just kind of made a little bit of an opening. You can see there's the joint. All I did was make a little droplet. Make sure it drops down his abs. Just hold it down, kind of like on an angle. And it should go directly to the joint. If it doesn't, you might just have to kind of work it a little bit. Don't want to get any paint chip. And then you can actually just clean off any excess shock oil. Another thing you can do, put it in some warm water. I wouldn't say fully boiling, but some warm water would definitely help out. Just trying to see if I can do anything else with this figure. Might put some in the bag just so it actually can get up there. So let's do it again. Very important PSA. Just remember to have your shock oil at the ready. Make sure it drops a droplet only. You don't want much. One is more than enough. Alright, it drops in. Make sure it goes directly into that joint. Make sure it goes down, 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 and down. And it seems that it's working. Maybe. Ah, beautiful. Oh, look at that. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's a perfect joint now. Just grab a little paper towel. Or even just use your shirt as well. It's not going to really stain anything. And then now you have a perfectly functioning Wolverine torso. I'm going to go clean this off real quick. Give me 1 second. Now that I have my Wolverine fully cleaned up and ready to go, it's time to assemble it. If it likes to do the pop. Oh, look at that. Beautiful ab crunch now. That's a mighty beaut right there. That's a lot of shock oil. Okay, wait. I thought I cleaned it off, but apparently not. Again, just grab a paper towel. Just kind of rub that in. Make sure to also wash your hands, because I think that's what I didn't do. There you go. I know some of you might be like, oh my god, you're ruining the figure. It's such a high-end collectible. It's a toy, for God's sakes. Let me enjoy my toys. I'm never going to be selling this guy either way, so... yeah. Alright, so now, paper towel out of the way. Hopefully no more oily fingers on myself either. Gonna use that paper towel to its max. A little bit of my shirt. Why not? So again, he gets a perfect... Okay, that's not a perfect ab crunch, but... There you go. So, his lower ball joint is definitely an issue. I think he does pop out too easily, in my opinion. But that does give you good enough range to go forward and backwards. Really good range as well, with a little bit of a gap, but that's fine. And see how much easier it is to actually move his joint now that I actually have him going with the shock oil. It's perfect. It's fantastic. So now, for the legs, he does kind of have a thigh swivel that doesn't necessarily work the best. It's like Mafex doesn't necessarily have a full-on thigh swivel. They do have kind of like a little swivel to move the legs here and there, but it doesn't work that well, in my opinion. The legs, he can do the splits pretty well. Not perfect, but it does work. He does have drop-down hips, as you already saw there, but without the drop-down hips, he can kick forward pretty well. He does have a soft crutch that allows him to kick forward pretty far and high up as well, especially with the drop-down hips, which is what I'm using right now. You can see it right here. Without the drop-down hip, with the drop-down hip. Not the most range, but it's honest work. Double jointed knee that looks okay. The knee is definitely a different plastic, or probably wasn't painted perfectly. It's not that noticeable in camera, but it is more noticeable in person, which is a little bit unfortunate. He does have a somewhat of a calf swivel, but not the best. It's really just two pieces together, so do be careful in separating these two. Just use a little bit of super glue if it ever does happen. Make sure that it doesn't get anywhere else. Just a little bit of the dab, and then you should be good. Okay, so for the feet, going forward that far with the hinge and backwards this far with a pretty good looking toe hinge, besides this painted part that is not painted, even though they definitely should have painted it. So yeah, articulation, fantastic, pretty good for Mafex standards and just action figure standards as well. He does do a lot of things well. I do agree. Now, let's move on to the accessories, because I do think that's where this guy actually lacks a little bit with. So, let's take a look at those real quick. Alright, so this is pretty much all of the accessories that you're going to get with this brown suit Wolverine. It's not a lot, and I'll explain how this could have been improved later. I know this is a reissue, so this has been a pretty known problem with this figure. We do get the Mafex stand, but I don't necessarily count that as an accessory because it is the standard for Mafex. I'm talking about more so figure accessories. It is an accessory that you get, but I'm talking about the figure accessories, not the extra additional stuff that you can use the Mafex stand with anybody. Now, we do have a maskless face sculpt, which is looking really nice. I really do like the kind of bluish coloring that it has in the hair, or on the hair. And then the dot printing looks phenomenal in this one too as well. Really do love it. Although I do wish there was a little bit of shading in the face to actually showcase those wrinkles, because they're not that noticeable. The mouth is pretty well painted, although I think the top of the mouth roof is a little bit light. And he is a shouting face sculpt, which I don't necessarily like as much. Now, when it comes to this guy right here, we do have a smirking head sculpt with Wolverine. This is nice, but I also would have liked a shouting face sculpt like this guy. Like, just put the cowl on, and then you're good. It would have been perfect. It would have been so good if we had a cowl shouting face sculpt. Yes, the blue one does have it, but the colors for the yellow are not necessarily perfect. That yellow is more... It has a little bit more blue in it. This one has a little bit more red in it. That sort of thing. So, it looks fantastic here. I like it. It looks really good. But, again, a little bit disappointed with the face sculpts, because a lot of times they do include like 3, I think. For the most part, it's... Especially if you have like not a lot of accessories, or the figure doesn't necessarily have it. Actually, no, they do usually do like 2 or 3. Like, it's 2 or 3 normally. But I think 3 would have been better. And then we do have the cowl mask off, which is a great accessory. I don't think it's bad whatsoever. Very good right there. Now, my favorite type of claws where they're curled up like this. This is beautiful. And they're very spread out as well. Love the way that they look. They're painted pretty well with the silver. They're not too spiky, which is really nice. They actually have kind of like a soft end. Unlike other companies like SH Figuarts, where their movie Wolverine, which is, I know, completely different, had really spiky claws, which is good, but at the same time, when you're trying to handle it, it can be troublesome. We do have extended hands, kind of like more relaxed hands, which is really nice, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to move on right into my final thoughts here. So as an overall score, I'm going to give this figure a 9 out of 10. It's definitely one of the best Wolverines out there in the market, and I actually do think that he's very much worth it. But there's a reason why it took off a point, and that reason is because of availability. Not so much price, because I think the price, for what it's worth, it's good. I think the availability can be troublesome, especially just reissuing this guy kind of sporadically, like how Medicom did. I don't think it was the greatest idea. I just think they should have had an overall street date for like Japanese websites or import websites, as well as like retailers here in the US. I know Big Bad Toy Store, as I mentioned earlier in the video, had stock as of earlier today that I was recording the video, or before I recorded the video. Not sure how it is right now. But right now here in the US, it is $110 retail, which is not bad whatsoever. I actually do think it's a fairly good price for a Mafex, especially for a very sought-after Mafex. So I would definitely get on that if you have the disposable income. If you can't, then I would suggest waiting for a Japanese retail site that will get this guy sporadically. Like, they keep getting stock here and there. Every now and then they actually do keep getting it. I got mine through Hobby Genki, so Hobby Genki, you guys are the goats for letting me purchase this. This guy was fantastic. Absolutely love it. Although, right here in this very last part of the video, the last couple of things that I would have liked for hopefully the next Wolverine suit, or maybe for other companies to follow suit with this type of idea, is the accessories. I want a shouting masked accessory. I don't necessarily like seeing Logan's face every single time he's shouting. I would have liked the smirking face to be Logan. I would have liked to have the cowl face be shouting. It would have been perfect. More options is always better. Now, for the claws, something I don't understand is why they don't include just like the singular claw in the middle, or the two claws on the side where he's like about to open the third one because he can control them, and then he's like interrogating someone and he's about to like pierce them through the skull, that sort of thing. I wish they included more of those, especially for a lot of other companies. I think it would be a really easy accessory to put, and it wouldn't cost that much extra. So hopefully in the future for other companies, Bandai, please do that, especially since we are getting a lot more like comic book versions of characters. But that's pretty much all the time I have for you guys today. I know, pretty long video, but I think it was necessary, especially talking about the reissue of this guy. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this figure or not. That's pretty okay as well. So let me know that in the comments if you like this figure or not. That's not usually how I do it, but yeah, besides that, like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.